Hello there, welcome to another INFJ ramble. Tonight's recording is going to touch on being alone in the world. I've made so many recordings on this subject, and every time I revisit the topic, new information comes to the surface, and I just kind of wanted to, I guess, revisit the topic. In another video that I did not post, I basically said that we are alone in the world, and it's a great opportunity, I feel, for us to really, really get to know who we are, aside from being caught up in what society has been programming most of society to do. Does that make sense? If you think about it, I think you can agree that since you were a child, you spent a lot of time on your own and pretty independent, you know. And yeah, there's feelings of being ostracized accompanied with that, a feeling of not really belonging anywhere or to anything or any particular group. I feel like to some extent I also didn't even really feel like I fit in with on a familial level. My mother raised me and my sister, and we had little to no contact with outside family members. And it was just us, we just kind of like were together on our own. And of course, as as my sister grew up, we all went our separate ways, and I feel like I and my mother have kind of spent most of our time, most of our lives on our own. And it's a really hard path, and it's not for the faint of heart. And in the beginning, when your mind cannot understand why you are as you are, I feel like you face a lot of confusion and pain and turmoil. And like for me personally, as I was growing up, I was my own worst critic. Like, you know, it's not that I needed validation from anyone else. I feel like I needed my own validation, and that took a number of years to accomplish. A number of years spent in depression and pain and longing and suffering. And when I was going through it wasn't the best portion of my life, but it was the best portion of my life because it gave me the necessary pressure and fuel that I needed to search for a remedy. And I couldn't find the remedy. I think you already know this. You cannot find the remedy outside of yourself because the remedy is inside of yourself. You create your own poison. You create your own remedy. You know what I mean? And I feel like you can't really know that fact on an intimate level if you aren't provided the necessary atmosphere or components or, things that will actually propel you to a place where you're tired of living a particular way, and you're tired of functioning a particular way, and so you go out there and you proactively seek a remedy. And I've come to the realization that the remedy is inside of you. You just have to unlock that aspect within yourself. And the thing is, nothing is wrong with you. And of course, nobody has ever told you that, because they're so accustomed to pushing all their ideas and theories and constructs and, how do I say? blueprints in your face, and they're expecting you to abide by that in order for them to accept you. You know what I mean? It's like a really unbalanced trade-off. It's like, okay, well, if you do this and you become this and you you function the way I want you to function, then I'll accept you. But I think inside you've known that that didn't sit right with you. And I think that's why for most of our lives we've kind of gone in the opposing direction of the masses, and we've chosen the harder path. And I'd like to think that you know all of these experiences that we've garnered, all of these tools that we've accumulated will help us to shape a new future. I mean, whether that future manifests in my lifetime, who knows? But, everything is energy, and, everything that we come into contact is affected, by us. It's affected by everyone. It's not just us, we're all affecting everything indirectly, and it's so complex. Like, I don't really know how to break it down. It starts with a thought, starts with a feeling, and then it just kind of like trickles out from there. Like, I don't know if you are familiar with the experiments of Masaru Emoto. If you're not, you could Google him. You could look up some YouTube videos, but basically he conducted an experiment on water. I made a video on this as well, and we are comprised of 60 to 80% of water. And his experiment was, what do you do if you, basically take the same water from the same water source, put it in different areas, and then you provide positive feedback to this water and negative feedback to this one. And the results were mind-blowing. Like the water that received positive affirmation and thoughts and energy, like, crystallized into these beautiful geometrical shapes, and it looked very pristine and clear. And the one that received a lot of negative commentary and energy, like, basically looked like diseased, like cancerous almost, And so if you take that and you apply it to yourself, and you apply it to people around you or things in your direct environment, I feel like you have the same impact, And being a loner, being an independent thinker, you have opportunities to come to your own conclusions, outside of the paradigm that was created for us to live in. And, that is a gift in itself, because, if you stay within the mental constructs, you just kind of regurgitate what everyone else is doing versus, taking a step back, looking at everything and saying, hey, something is definitely wrong, and I can't participate in that. And, I think anytime you choose not to participate, you're using your will and your power to redirect the state of the world where it's currently at. But you have to realize that within yourself. And I think, like, there's a lot of thresholds that you need to pass, a lot of initiations that you need to be exposed to, and a lot of, like, rebirthing, of yourself that needs to occur in order for you to get to a certain level of consciousness where you can actually, like, enforce the energetic shift with your presence, if that even makes sense. So yeah, going back to previous videos, again, be the change you want to see in the world. It's not about going out there and trying to save everything or fix everything, or, battle with everyone, because you can obviously see that we are currently residing in a very insane society. And, this people who are sane are very few, and so, of course, they're gonna they're they're gonna like project their fear upon you and make you out to be the enemy, when in actuality you are, you know, playing your part. But by playing your part, I don't mean like, you know, starting or creating more friction. There's already enough friction. You know, I think you need to do the opposing thing, become a salve. You know, that's why I say understanding and kindness and compassion and forgiveness and gratitude and peace is the answer. But you need to, you know, you need to start with yourself. Give yourself these things, and once you give yourself these things, you know, your own acceptance, your own love, your own kindness and compassion and care and peace and joy, once you give that gift that to yourself, and then everything else follows suit. You know what I mean? Because you're redirecting your attention towards such things. But if you continue to like participate in this this world, you know, which is obviously not the world, but the people in the world, predominantly the people in the world are not in alignment, unbalanced, living a very dualistic lifestyle, and their attention is predominantly being streamlined towards fear-based thoughts and lack mentality. And so, you know, if you can remove your participation from the insane social constructs, then you can kind of like, you know, redirect the energy towards yourself and become a power source within yourself that can emanate. It's almost like a beacon, you know, a beacon that is fully powered and fully charged and fully aligned with who they really are, and just kind of emanate that out. And I want to say, like, the more we work on ourselves, you know, it can be a contagion that could become, you know, I mean, I feel like everything is possible, but, you know, your positivity can be a contagion that could shift the balance of what is currently happening on the planet. I know this sounds like new age, this sounds like, you know, I don't know, a little esoteric, but I mean, if I've sat with myself enough to know that, like, the current way that society is running is totally distorted. It's not what I want. And yeah, you know, it may seem like I'm taking a passive stance by not participating, but I feel like if enough people stop participating in a very sick system, then, you know, we can give the system time to heal, you know, and then it's kind of like the 100th monkey effect. If enough people get on board, you know, we can make that shift, and it is possible. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I just kept rambling on and on. But if you learned something cool, if you didn't learn anything cool, um, I hope you're having a beautiful night. Thank you for watching, and blessings to one and all. Amen.